Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Jay. Welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be typing famous people based on C.S. Joseph's system. So, just going to be practicing using his system. So, this is not made by me. Disclaimer. All the credit of this system goes to him. I'll link his channel and his website in the description. You should check him out if you're watching this, if you haven't already. And we're just gonna get right into it. So this is basically my template. So what I'm gonna be using to type people, and I'm basically just copying C.S. Joseph. So it's not like anything special. Um, I do have the notes section here though. I probably won't use it this case, but because I usually use it when I'm typing people in real life. But I'll probably just do the tallies like he does. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to type whoever he's typed. And then I'm going to um verify. So I'm gonna cross check with whatever he got as his type, and then basically that way I'm just practicing, and hopefully I'll be able to progress and you guys will see my progress. And maybe you guys would learn with me too. So that'd be nice. That being said, let's get right into it. So the first person we're gonna type is this dude. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce his name, so we're just gonna get right into it. Let's see. Let's do like a talk.
To being hungover.
Yeah.
And so whenever I get somewhere after a long flight, I just try and trick my body into being hungover. So I go out as late as possible, and it sort of resets everything. It didn't work this time.
Did it not work?
No.
Are you just drinking through the pain now? Is that what's happening? Cool. Yeah. Oh. Are you doing some kind of sock promotion?
Oh, he seems very movement. He keeps moving around, so we're just gonna put a point down for that.
For my sock company, the little swimmers.
You just.
Let's do Jimmy Kimmel.
Our next guest is a brilliant filmmaker from. It's great to have you here. Your movie is fantastic. It is funny. It's heartwarming. It is instructive, I think, and it is insane. Insane, really.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah, because as I was watching it, I was like, there's a 10-year-old Nazi whose imaginary friend is Hitler.
Yeah.
Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
The guy from the place.
That guy, you know that guy?
Yeah.
I know the guy. I know who you're talking about. You don't have to explain it to me.
And then I was wondering.
Seems pretty direct.
What the pitch must have been like, because you have to go into a meeting with a big company and originally have yourself in mind to play Hitler.
Obviously, look at me. Yeah, I think I'm probably the first choice on many of the lists of Aryan characters.
That was pretty.
Or was that it?
Well, there was no intention of playing the character when I was writing it years ago, and then I was trying to make this film in about 2012, and
Keeps talking about what he was doing and a point down for Earth.
thinking about, like, who might play this, this role, and and then I got distracted and went and made 3 other movies, and then came back to it in 2017, and Fox Searchlight said, well, look, we've always loved the script, we want to make it with you, but only under the... Yeah, no, I mean, when I first... the first time I put the costume on and the moustache.
Yeah.
I looked in the mirror, and the
Telling
main
a story about what he was doing.
takeaway from that was just feeling super embarrassed. And then I went out and I was on set, and okay, well, so in second thoughts, you don't have to do what I say. It's not an order. You just do what you want. It's up to you.
Just do what you want. That's a water statement.
You're free. You're a free actor to do what you want.
Reactor to do water statement.
These are some pictures of an
God.
assortment of photos that have been posted on Instagram and also provided by people you know. It seems, and you're really sleeping in that picture, huh? Here's another one of you asleep on the job. Good thing you're not an air traffic controller because it seems that you are maybe narcoleptic or something.
Seems really moving. It's based on how much he moves.
That's my child's stroller.
A different interview.
We're the same.
In the tent with a microphone, like this, with a TV screen, eating like a cheese platter and cups of tea and stuff. And I mean, it ruins you. These films ruin you. I'm ruined.
Can you go back to making low-budget films again?
I barely remember what it was like. You know, being an artist. No, of course I will. In my next film, I'm going to go back. You know, one for them, one for you.
That's what they say. That's what they say. Yeah.
Interrupted himself. Question directly.
Yeah, you figured out the secret.
It's not really a secret.
It's like what everybody says. I want to know how you go into
how we
Marvel.
colored the poster. Well, we
Oh,
took
just initiated. Just interrupted him. Nice.
We colored every colored crayon in existence, and
Got him like a
got a
fire
6-year-old to basically just go for it.
Well, I've heard that part of your main pitch was the Led Zeppelin song that you end up using in the movie. But there is so much different in this film than in the previous Thor movies. One, the sort of the sense of humor, the colors, the score that is used in the film. So was all of that part of your original pitch, sort of going in there and being like, we're gonna take apart what you've already done and make it something else?
Well, my pitch really was I went and met with Marvel and I said, look, Thor's got to be the coolest character if you're going to call the movie Thor. So that's the first thing that we need to focus on.
Talking about what we need to focus on instead of just him. That's a water statement.
and I'd play this Led Zepp song for them with this sizzle reel, as they call it in the biz, which is basically torrenting clips from many movies and putting a Led Zeppelin track on it. And they
that was informative. He just explained that when he didn't have to. And he was talking about like what he did. So
that's all you got to do?
That's all you got to do.
I can do that.
I did that. I've admitted to committing crimes. Marvel saw it, and they and from that moment they wanted to try and license that song because you know I was so surprised that no one had used Immigrant Song for a Thor film
or an action sequence in
anything.
Know. And if it has, yeah, because when the song
he interrupted himself.
Started for me, I was like, it's one of those sort of course.
I'm trying to get some temperament statements.
But that was basically my whole pitch was just playing, you know, a lot of clips from movies I loved with this song, and I think the pitch process actually, what I've learned is, it's just you and the studio figuring out if you could bear to work with each other for 2 years.
2 years.
Talking about the process, that's systematic. It's also figuring out where you'll go, like while he's doing.
2 years, yeah. So you kind of meet each other and you hang out and you tell some stories to each other and stuff, and then you figure out, I think I could be your friend for 2 years. That's how it works.
We could weather this together.
Yeah. That's how it works. Systematic.
Getting this vibe right now. I think we could be friends. We could be friends for 2 years.
We could do this interview for 2 years.
We could be friends for 2 years. It's abstract. Also, water stain.
Come back next year. We'll be sitting here. Well, talk to me about injecting the Thor series with a kind of self-referential humor and just there are more jokes. Like the movie will stop and a great joke will happen and then the movie kind of picks up again. I know some people would say that's not a compliment, but I mean that as a compliment, you know?
No, I take it as a compliment. I'm very surprised with the kind of jokes and content that Marvel have let me put in this movie. I'm very surprised, and you'll be surprised.
When
it seems pragmatic of him to say that, because if they were affiliative jokes, then he wouldn't really have to say that statement. He wouldn't be surprised anyway.
Obviously, you're known for doing comedy prior to this. When they signed you onto the film, was part of it like let's try to put more jokes into it?
Yeah, yeah, they really wanted to inject the whole franchise with a bit more life and a bit more kind of vitality. The thing about like a lot of studio films and Hollywood films is
Talking about what they want to do, another water statement. Injecting something with life and vitality. That might be abstract.
especially is when you hear a joke in these films, you get the feeling that the joke was written about a year before they shot it. You know, it's like it's been in the script for a long time, and someone, a couple of people in a boardroom are like, oh, and then he's going to say, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, it's going to be amazing when we shoot that in a year. How we did it on Thor was our script really was a suggestion, and and so all the jokes were kind of like maybe, and we got on set and we basically explored what more we could do, and so I think the humor is a very different style of humor for superhero movies.
And because of that, I think you get a sense that the actors are having a really good time as well. They're not just sort of throwing.
He's talking about again. There's no goal. Just figuring out as they go. Talking about what we could do. It's another water stain. He's definitely shading. I haven't seen any control. Seen him be responding or direct. I haven't seen any fire and wind. And we have this. We need more evidence here.
Out these sort of
well, there's shots when Chris and Mike, they're like trying to stop laughing, and they're in the movie. You know, you can see them or even in the trailer there, where at the end of the thing when Chris like cracks up, it's him actually laughing at a line that Mark was saying as the Hulk.
Well, can I ask you a question? I mean, I'm sure this is well documented, but how do you do is the Hulk actually, when you're shooting at Mark Ruffalo in?
Yeah, it's him, and he's in the. I don't know if you've ever seen those motion capture pajama things that look ridiculous.
So he's doing motion capture Hulk.
Yeah, so he's like, so every time that Thor and Hulk are talking together, it's him and Mark, and they're a lot of the time ad-libbing. And
is that hard for the other actor like Chris Hemsworth? Because I mean, if his eye line, this is so geeky.
Well, no, it is hard, and I know exactly what you're going to say.
So you just interrupted him. That's an issue.
He has to look above Mark's face to talk to him, and Mark has to look down at Chris's crotch.
He's talking about what other people are doing though right now. I mean, I know the question probed it, but I need to put a point down. Or when.
His eye line.
What the fuck?
So it's really weird, and I play a character in the film as well, this rock monster Korg. And
did you motion capture yourself?
I motion captured, but I was directing in these.
He just started. He switched it though. He switched it to talk about what he was doing. Oh, that's Earth and
stupid pajamas with all these like golf balls all over you, and it is really hard to be taken seriously when you're wearing that stuff and you're trying to direct a movie and it's like, hey guys, I want the
times in the midst of a big action sequence where most films wouldn't know how to do it, you know how to inject a joke or a line. I think of Ruffalo, jumping out of the ship. It's just a wonderful moment.
Well, most of the time when we're doing the film, whenever we approach something like a big action sequence or or even a scene, we would often ask ourselves and talk to each other and say, have we seen this before? Does this feel like we've seen that in 10 other movies? If so, let's do the opposite. And let's have, instead of, Mark jumping down and turning into the Hulk and landing on the bridge, he has this, his big pratfall. And I don't know. To be honest, I didn't know what I was doing.
Did you feel that the whole time?
Yeah.
How did you get through it? Cheese and
cheese. Didn't know what he was doing. It's indicative of low TI.
Cheese lying down. Whenever someone asks me one of the big pressure questions, I just fall asleep or pretend to be asleep. I'll answer later.
What was out of curiosity? What was the toughest part of doing this movie for you?
The toughest part really was the length of time. It was 85 days of shooting, and that feels like a sort of, I don't know, there are a lot of animals out there, and that's a sort of gestation period for their babies. 85 days. 85 days. I could have had like a baby like antelope in that time.
Oh, it's abstract. So he's definitely ENF. And
and I don't know.
Yeah, what the hell
I
are
don't
you
know
just
how long
talking
it
about?
takes. I don't know how long it takes. Does anyone know? Can anyone Google how long it takes to cook an antelope in the womb? In a male womb? In a New Zealand male's womb? Nope, no one's into it. Okay.
Someone Google that for us. And when you...
he said it directly, but he said it informatively. Can someone do this for us? He said, someone do this for us.
You know, Chris Hemsworth obviously has playing Thor. He's the last 2 films. He has an ownership over the character. What kind of conversations did you have with him going into shooting?
Well, basically, I really enjoyed the other Thor films, but I wanted to look at this hero as someone who was charming, funny, all right looking, but also just someone you wanted to go on an adventure with. And when I was describing that kind of hero, I just thought of Chris. Those are the qualities that he displays. He's charming. He's funny. He is the kind of person you want to go.
Talking about who he thought about, and like describing his qualities or Chris Hemsworth's qualities.
On an adventure with, and
Movie
so
star.
really, well, he's a movie star.
Well,
Honestly, I like look at this poster. I'm blown away that I've like made a movie with all these fools.
Alright, judging based off what we have, I go with more sword and mace because I haven't seen any spear and bow statements. I'm gonna go with ENT, and I'm gonna check right now to see if I was right. Alright, and I got it right. Let's go! This is my second one right. I'm so proud. Let's freaking go. I'm probably gonna do 1 or 2 more. So happy. Especially because I got on recording. Let's go. Alright, we're just gonna erase all this. On to the next fellow. We got next one is, I'm not gonna even try to say this either.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're speaking to is consistency, right? You know, people, we live in this era where people love like the flash in the pan, so to speak, or the things that are hot for the moment. But I remember Jay-Z
Alright, he talks about consistency, and he was talking about what other people value. I'm gonna point down for sort.
saying in an interview one time, like, you know, he plays forever. And I feel like that's how both of us play. We play forever. You know, Vlad TV is a consistent brand. Love it or hate it, consistent brand. Charlemagne the God.
Love it or hate it, consistent brand. Sword and mace.
Love it or hate him, consistent personality. And I think it's something to be said about consistency. I think sometimes we take consistency for granted for a long time, you know, because when you look at the landscape of podcasts, right? Like, first of all, I got to salute the Loudspeaker Network, you know, because I started my podcast, Brilliant Idiots, with Andrew.
It's initiated.
Show.
Does being a best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author, like how long does it take to get used to that?
To be honest with you, I don't think about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think about it until I'm in certain situations, in certain circumstances, or I hear it, like how you just said it just now. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, I am a 2-time over New York.
I'm talking about twice, though.
Twice, yeah.
I
don't think nothing of it, because in my mind, I'm still that kid on the dirt road in Moncks Corner, South Carolina.
Yeah, and that's
Alright, that's very TIFE of him. I think a spear and bow user would try and flex that.
Speaking of Moncks Corner, South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So it was always that, like, I don't want to say racial tension, but, you know, we were aware of what we were around.
I mean, there's always conflict.
Yes.
We were aware of what we were around. That's indicative of what.
There's always been conflict. So, I mean, is it mostly farmland? Like, is it a...
Yeah, it's a rural area. I grew up on the dirt road, cornfields all around my mother's house.
Jeez.
You know, we used to play in the cornfields. When that movie Children of the Corn came out, we was all shook. We used to run through the woods. You know, when I got into my days of,
talking about what we were doing.
Selling drugs.
Yeah,
we would hit the woods when the police came. Like it's country. Yeah. Super country. I'm trying to think what's the closest you probably been there. I know you've been to Charleston. I know you've been to Columbia.
Yeah.
Talking about where he's the whoever the other dude where he's been to, it's indicative of more wind.
You never been to Orangeburg? You used to do them small towns. That's what I'm saying. But they would do things. They would do things like that on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like to get a shock out of people. Like I wasn't trying to get a rise out of people.
Talking about what they're trying to get out of it.
They thought it was shocking. I remember the first time you came to the Big DM. I don't know if it was the first time, but you was in between albums.
Okay.
Atomic Memory, because he remembered when he came, wasn't based off like him.
You already had dropped I'm Serious.
Right.
And I think you had just did the deal. No, I don't think you did the deal with Atlantic yet.
Okay.
And you had 24s on White Label.
Right.
And you came to the station like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. It was you and C-Rod.
Okay.
And me playing 24s.
Right.
Without consulting the program director.
Seems pretty concrete. Hasn't said anything abstract.
That was a big deal.
That was considered.
What do you mean?
You go there, try to help out, and everybody running the muck, and then the leader get no
response. He seems pretty responding, and I think he's direct responding move.
He got beat up, robbed, shot. You like, you know what? Fuck the hood. You know what I mean? Or Nipsey Hussle situation. You out here helping, and somehow the hood. You know what I'm saying?
The only way one could say that is if they.
Look at that man. He's thinking, reflecting so hard. He's definitely responding. Bro, he hasn't talked at all. Oh my god.
Fuck the hood.
In your waist.
Oh my god. Definitely responding.
The environment is not healthy for you to even go help.
Well, you can't go back out there with a gun in your waist 5 and stand on the corner like you used to.
You don't want to go out
talking about what they used to do. That's wind.
That you're going to help somebody. They say, yo, guess what? We don't fucking want your help. We don't care if you lived over here, what you do, get the fuck out of here. We happy being broke and poor. Get out.
But what about the people? What about the people? What about the people who do appreciate your help, though?
Those are the people that you
talking about. Other people appreciate it. Sort
of. Say, come down to the
that's
community center. And,
that's it. That's what you focus on. You focus on the next little 5 in the hood.
That is
talking about other people are focusing on.
True though.
You have to go find them though. Damn near. You know what I mean?
I have heard many times that you cannot.
I mean, he is dressed like in all black. Seen him dressed in all black. It's super concrete. I don't think he's abstract.
You know what I mean?
I don't understand that. You block all that out and say, you know what?
You gotta give him a hug.
That's it. That's it. You gotta love our people in spite of themselves, man.
See, this is the thing.
You gotta love our people in spite of our sort. He's definitely TIFE. Responding, concrete. He might be ISFJ or ISTP. Or another. Don't put that mistake on us. Pragmatic. They say that's
it's a lot of pressure for one state. Now who?
And actually, it also could be wind. He is. It's abstract. BSing us.
Bernie Sanders on stage with Public Enemy. You know, you got Donald Trump out here having woke centers, or he's got merchandise with woke.
Good things on Congress, though.
That'll be fair. You're fair.
Responding for sure. Alright, I'm just gonna vibe check him. I'm gonna vibe type him as ISFJ. I'm probably completely wrong, but let's see what happens. Damn, okay. So he was actually an ESTP. I was actually close with ISTP. Damn. So I got the sword and mace and then fire and wind. I definitely overthought this. I guess he was initiating, he wasn't responding. It was direct. I didn't hear him say anything informative. I really thought he was moving, so I really thought it was ISTP. And I had to take marks for this too, yeah, so I was just overthinking it. Alright, I'm done for now. anyways, guys, so again, like, this is me using CS Joseph's system. I'm gonna link his website and his YouTube channel down below. I'm probably gonna keep posting videos of me practicing how to type people and like cross-checking with whoever he typed, and hopefully you guys are learning as much as I am. I've been practicing this for like about a year and a half now. So I just really want to get good at typing, so that way I could type people in real life and possibly even help them develop. So yeah, if you guys are watching, make sure that you check out his channel. He's a really good guy. And I got nothing else to say, so I'll see you next time.